So what 5 things did we learn from the Ireland versus New Zealand game? Now, I wanted to do this follow-up because, yes, it wasn't a classic game. You're not going to remember it years after the time. There's been some good ones, Ireland, New Zealand. But what we did learn from New Zealand is they can win this sort of arm wrestle game. And for them, that is fantastic because away from home in Ireland, incredibly difficult to go and get the win. And they got it, and they played fairly simple at times. I like the way they decided just to go straight up the gut sometimes. The likes of Amua, the likes of Satiti, Surveyor, they had the guys just to make gain line and make pressure that way. And they showed they could play a kicking game in the wet. Their handling stood up to it. Their scrum was good. They stole some line out. That's how you do it away from home. Get the win, move on. They're 2 from 2. Good work from New Zealand. And just a mention to our sponsor, Sports News Blitz, who are giving starts to young journalists. Now let's get into the second point. Ireland did not look like the world's #1 team. I mean, if you didn't know what was going on and you watched them there, you would say, no way are this team in green world #1, and they can play a lot better, of course. But if South Africa now beat Scotland with a stack of changes showing strength and depth, then they are #1s, and I think that is well deserved. Ireland have got to look at themselves and go, we've got to be a lot better than this. I normally say that Ireland hit the ground running. They didn't here. They were just full of mistakes. Some of the errors they gave away, some of those penalties were absolutely unforgivable. They couldn't get their attack going. Their scrum really struggled. And yet they just couldn't get that green machine rolling like they've been known for. That's what their strength is. And yeah, it was an absolute shocker here. So if they lose world #1, I think it's about right. Point number 3, handling in the wet is absolutely vital. Now, I did mention in the match report it was wet, it was drizzly, but as you say, it can get a lot wetter than that, and games are just going to be like that sometimes, and you've got to be better. Both sides guilty of drops when they shouldn't, taking their eyes off the ball, some unsympathetic passes, and neither could really build their big face play. But I think New Zealand nicked that battle of the handling, taking the ball in the face a bit more, Mackenzie taking it right to the line, and for the Will Jordan try, they went coast to coast 3 times, not perfect, but they stretched Ireland incredibly wide 3 times in a row, and eventually it was too much. So handling in the wet can decide games. Now, point number 4 is the fly half debate is still open for both sides. In the preview show, I wondered if Crowley and Frawley had it sewn up for Ireland, and commenters saying, well, hang on, watch out for Sam Prendergast, and I didn't think he would come into the picture so soon, but that was a poor showing from both of them. Crowley couldn't get his phase attack going, although sure, that's a team issue. And then when Frawley came on, it was a nightmare. I mean, he made so many mistakes. Bullet passes, drop balls. It was a really bad impact from the bench. So maybe Prendergast will come into it a little bit earlier. I don't know how quickly that will be, but definitely there's pressure on those fly halves for Ireland. For New Zealand, Damien Mackenzie had another chance because Beauden Barrett probably would have started if he was fit, and he took it by the scruff of the neck. This was the man of the match performance as was awarded on the day, but he just said, I can control a game, because that was the criticism from the summer where he went rogue and did some crazy stuff. Here, he was just booming the kicks. He was still taking the ball flat to the line. One time he just ran clean through the line with his pace, so he did mix it up. Maybe once he didn't spot some Irish front row forwards in midfield they could have run at, but his kicking was absolutely sublime. His goal kicking, spot on. So I think he definitely said, I can still be the #1 for Razor Robertson going forward. So big performance from him. And also talking of halfbacks, when Cam Roigard came on for Ratima, who did struggle a bit in this game, you saw the massive box kicks of Cam Roigard. Often in the highlights we see him making amazing muscular breaks, but boy can he kick as well. So maybe it is the Roigard-Mackenzie show going forward. And point number 5 is a law one. Boy, has the kick chase drastically changed. The days of shepherding and blocking seem to be completely over at the moment, and those offensive chasers are allowed a clean run on the defensive catchers. But today, boy, did those catchers stand up. I thought neither side really got a breakthrough from the kick chase. They couldn't get a breakthrough from the midfield phase play, so they went to the skies and they kind of cancelled each other out. Some cool play there from the back three. Will Jordan maybe standing out the most. Goodness me, he looks so composed under the high ball, and of course he's lethal on the counter-attack as well. And talking of laws, I don't tend to bring up refs because I don't think it's overly fruitful, but goodness me, Nick Berry, I thought he was very poor today. Missed a lot of things. Ratima played the ball badly on the ground, could have been a yellow. Ireland were swinging around the rucks, making it all messy. That not straight in the line out when there was no contesting from Ireland wasn't picked up. So yeah, not a great game for the ref. Anyway, please let me know what you picked up from that game. Pop them down below. Do subscribe, that would be amazing, and I'll catch you next time.